Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Mm-hmm. You know it's good, I'll tell you what. And guys, what else is good is they have just opened. The floodgates are open, guys. We're watching at Canary Capital's XRP ETF is going out there and trading, and I cannot wait till the close of the markets today to see how the first day of the XRP ETF really actually panned out. I think a lot of people are going to be watching it, but a lot of these other XRP ETFs are coming, guys. They are going to be coming between now and the end of this month. Big, big, big. And you know that is bringing a lot of exposure and interest into XRP. Guys, there are a bunch of institutions that cannot touch XRP in the underlying market. They can't go out there and they can't actually buy XRP because of their fiduciary responsibility. But can they access XRP's ecosystem through these exchange traded funds? Yes, they can. And that is why you've got all of this information coming like out of JP Morgan saying there's about $8+ billion of demand for these XRP ETFs, and especially for pension plans, hedge funds, and all these other ones where their fiduciary responsibility is not going to allow them to hold the underlying asset themselves, but they can get exposure to it for XRP, and they have been chomping at the bit to do it. We know that. And just wait and see how much of these XRP ETFs, remember, they are going to be competing with one another to sell these contracts. And come on, these institutions, guys, they want to sell as many of them as they possibly can. And it would not surprise me one iota if we don't see within the next few weeks BlackRock getting into the fray. Of course, they're going to let these, smaller organizations get out there. And of course, they're not just too small, but they're not BlackRock's, right? They might have, hundreds of millions, where BlackRock's into the trillions upon trillions, of course. And they're going to let them go out there and they're going to, get their little foray, get the market, wet the market's whistle for it. Then you're going to watch these behemoths like BlackRock, like JP Morgan, like these major ones out there. They're going to launch their own XRP ETFs. And that's where you are going to see literally a waterfall event in my estimation of what's going to come for the demand that is going to be out there. They're going to gobble it up, guys. They are going to gobble up. Now think about this. You got Robbie Mitchnick, who worked at Ripple, guys, who is the head of the distributed ledger technology, the blockchain based desk over there at BlackRock. BlackRock shows up at Ripple Swell just here in this last little bit here, November 4th and 5th. As a major keynote speaker. And at the same time, you got Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, coming out. And what are they doing? Talking about the tokenization of all the equities markets. And by the way, specifically exchange traded funds. What do you think that they have in mind? Are you connecting dots, guys? Because I'll tell you what, I can bet my bottom dollar that they are out there and they are, actually going there and connecting dots and making calculated moves. And it's not going to surprise me when we actually see it happen. And I do believe that we are going to see a major, massive move in the price of XRP. Exchanges are already running out of it. And guys, it will not surprise me. We get that supply shock. And reading articles this morning, a lot of TA guys are coming out there and saying, listen, guys, the bull market is not over. If anything, we're in a corrective phase. $10 to $30 XRP before the end of the year is still on the table. And into 2026, the first quarter, there are numbers coming out that are just absolutely hard to digest. When you consider at one time you were buying XRP like Judy and I, the cheapest we ever bought it, 11 and 12 cents, most of it between 17 to 19. And we did make, a lot of purchases at, the 46 to 52. And, we've been dollar cost averaging all the way through. But the bulk of it was way back there. Well, you think about people that did get in at that time, even it was just in November there or just after the election, compared to where it's going. Oh my gosh, I'm not kidding. You could wait lifetimes in a traditional market to see the gains that we have seen in XRP. It is going to be something else. I kid you not. And on top of that, of course, you got all this regulatory clarity coming, all the legislative clarity coming, and they want that clarity. By the way, the Clarity Act they want on the president's desk by the end of December, and you can't make it up. I mean, what is really happening? And how quickly it is seeming to happen, because it kind of like is that roller coaster, you're clinking, you're getting up to the top, getting up to the top, getting up to the top. Well, the real ride begins right when you do get at the top, right? And whoosh, man, it just really fast, just fires off of there like a jet engine, right? And that's what it's like. We have been just building and building and building upon each layer of what's coming for this wide world in the new digital economy. And we have been building that for years and years and years. And of course, with Ripple and XRP, the suppressed price, because the SEC comes out and sues Ripple, guys, that had to be a coordinated event. Really, and when I look at it more and more, that's exactly because they all knew there is no way that XRP was going to be deemed to be a security. And you take Gary Gensler, who at the time, of course, the chairman over there at the SEC. Well, the guy worked at MIT, and you literally catch videos of this guy talking about exactly what XRP is. He knew for sure what it is and what its potential was, and on and on. And, basically they just suppressed it. Now, I guess we owe him a debt of thanks, because most of us would not have been able to accumulate as much as what we did at the prices that we did, if he hadn't have gone out and done that. So, in a way we do owe, Gary Gensler over there some sort of debt of thanks, because it really set us up to see life-changing things take place. And I always bring this out. When they originally dropped that lawsuit on, Ripple back in 2020, in December of 2020, and the price of XRP just tanked. I mean, it dropped all the way down there to that 17.48 cents. And 4 months later, with all the uncertainty that went with it, with all of the exchanges delisted it, with all of the FUD that was against it, guys, it did a 1,200% move and smashed up there to a $1.97. Well, I don't think we've seen anything yet. And here the lawsuit's over. We're getting the regulatory clarity. We're getting all the ETFs that are coming out, and Ripple's out there getting a banking license, and on and on and on. Bang, 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 bang. Have you ever heard of a better setup than what we're seeing right now for any asset in any asset class? I'm going to tell you that I haven't, because I think XRP is probably one of the most undervalued assets that exist. But do you think it's going to stay like that, guys? Do you honestly believe that, it's going to just remain like that at some point the world is going to clue in? And I'll tell you what, when they do, boom, are we ever going to fly? And I think we're going to smash through some, the stratosphere and some prices that people have just not even thought possible. And it's going to blow their minds. But are you able to win? Are you able to actually identify what's going on there? Are you able to make it through that? Because we could see some rocky roads, guys. We could even see the price even go down before we actually see it fire off. But what's your conviction about the long term? That's where we come in and talk about it. And that's where Judy and I put a lot of our confidence, is what's happening in the space down the road. Where are we in history, and how is that going to absolutely change the fortunes of so many? And you've heard me say it. I totally do believe 100%, even now more than ever, that this is going to represent the greatest wealth transfer in the history of mankind. I absolutely do believe that 100%. And we have put our money where our mouth is. I'll tell you what, we're not getting paid dime one, not one red cent from anybody to share our 100% biased opinion here, guys. We're telling you exactly what we believe and exactly what we have been doing. That's a fact, Jack. And the thing is, no sponsors on this channel. Ever notice that? Not one sponsor. And the reason is, I want to be able to come out there and tell you exactly what I think, what I feel, my 100% biased opinion, and motivate you. Not to influence you, but to motivate you to get out there and research it for yourself. You have got to do it. I just can't say it any more plain than what we have. I'll tell you that right now. And I will say this, a lot of you, my goodness, a lot of you have actually clued in big time. And I'm going to tell you, I'm so proud of the people in this community. And I have met so many of them. I have literally coached thousands of people now in this space. And from every walk of life that you can imagine. I mean, sports professionals, business owners of multi-million-dollar corporations, some of them into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Coach people like from physicians and lawyers and accountants and all that and stuff like that, and everyday folks like Judy and I and everybody else and all that. And I'm going to tell you that what I have seen and the growth that I have seen, for people in this space learning about what it is and going on and being strategic has been phenomenal. And I think, guys, and what really blows me away is even with that the majority of people out here are totally oblivious. But if you've clued in, count your blessings. Just count your blessings, guys. That is the gift of God, because there's going to come a day, I genuinely believe, they're going to look back, and a lot of folks are going to look back at this point in history and say, how did I not know? Why was I so oblivious? Why did I drink the Kool-Aid and all the stuff that was going on in the media? Why didn't anyone tell me? Where you and I, we have been out there learning, and I believe our families for generations are going to bless us for it. Do you want your story to be, well, Grandpa, what were you doing back there? Well, I heard about this, I heard about that, but, at the time, I just couldn't believe it, and on and on. Or do you want your story? Grandpa, how did you know? How did you know? Well, guys, I went out there and I kept my ear to the ground and I was digging, and it just so revolutionized our lives. And they say, oh, Grandpa, thank you for taking the time to really put yourself in a position. Our family will never be the same again. That's the story I want to tell, guys. I don't want my Bitcoin story where I knew about it just as soon as it came out practically, and literally my bias kept me from it. That's not the story I want to tell. And I don't think that's the story you want to tell, guys. I'll tell you what. Now, having said all that, look, we have got our mastermind open, and you can sign up right down in there and in the link in this for Exponential Mastermind. And guys, this Friday, we are doing a special town hall where we are presenting in their opportunity that we can't even talk about on YouTube, but we can in there. And I would encourage you, get in there, become a member, and join, because what's available for us now in this space as we go forward is truly phenomenal. And I don't think that window of opportunity is going to be open forever. That is for sure. And we don't want anyone to miss it. And we want you to at least get the glimpse of what's coming. So join that in there. And by the way, I still have only one session left for that next week in my coaching, where you and I meet together one-on-one for that 1 hour over Zoom. And we absolutely talk about your portfolio, getting it balanced towards the achievement of your goals, helping you to develop a strategic exit strategy, guys. And on top of that, sharing techniques with you that are really going to make a difference and help you in this space. So if that interests you and you would like to do that, you just visit me at thedigitaloutlook.com. Get yourself on the calendar, guys. I'll tell you, amazing things are coming, guys. Great, great days. They have just opened the floodgates. Wait and see how that all pans out. So, guys, I'll tell you what, until later on when we have another fantastic video for you, have a fabulous one and take care.